Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to create an iOS Swift plugin to perform CRUD operation like create, read, update and delete inside iCloud for Godot game engine. So for this we will be using iCLOUDKit. So let's get started. So first thing which you have to do is, obviously you would require a macOS. You will need Xcode and Godot installed. I'm using Godot 4.3.0 at the time of me recording this video, but I think the code should be more or less the same. There won't be any huge breaking changes. I doubt if there would be any breaking changes even if you're using higher version of Godot. And the next thing, very important, is you would require a paid Apple developer account to use this particular feature. Now shout out to my friend who has helped me with his account, otherwise I won't be able to do this. But yeah, that's another requirement. So yeah, let's get started. So first I have just created a normal folder called Godot. You can name it whatever you feel like. Now we will be creating an iOS package inside this folder, our Godot project inside this folder, and once we try to export our iOS project from Godot, we will create that also inside this separate folder. That's why I have created a main parent folder called Godot, but you feel free to use whatever you feel like. So first we will have to go to this particular URL. So it helps us to integrate Godot inside our Swift Godot inside our iOS package. So I'll just open this particular URL. Next I will open Xcode. I will just click on File, New, and here I will just select Package, and you can give it name whatever you feel like. So here it should be multi-platform. Here make sure you select library, click next, and I'll click next again, and here I will go to my Godot folder over here, and I will create it name as my library, but you can create it whatever you feel like, give whatever name you feel like, but do remember this name because I will be using this name in lot other places as well, so that's important. Now the first thing is, at the time of me recording this video, Swift Godot dependency does not fully support Swift version 6. That's why I will change this version from 6.0 to 5.10. By the time if you are watching this video, if Swift Godot supports Swift 6.0, then you don't have to make this change. Okay, once this is done, here if you see in my cheat sheet, so this is a cheat sheet of sort. So I just need to add this dependency section. So where exactly I need to add it? So if I just scroll over here, I have to add it after products. So I will just come over here and I will add something like this. Okay, then so if you see over here, it had downloaded all these dependencies for us automatically, so we don't have to worry about it. Next we have to add this platform section. Again I'll go back to the documentation to see. So I have to add platforms after name. So I will add this. Now I think Swift Godot is supported from version 17 of iOS. I tried moving it to version 15, but I was getting a lot of errors. That's why I'm keeping minimum version to 17. Then again I'll just go back to my cheat sheet. I have to add this type dynamic, so I have to add it after library name. Okay, so after library name I will add this. Then again I'll go back and I need to add this particular dependency section, and let's see where we need to add this. So we have to add this after target name. So after target name I'll just add a comma and I'll paste this particular thing. So yeah, hopefully this is done. I'll just improve the indentation. Okay, so this is done. Then we need to add our code, actual code inside my library.swift. So I'll just open this. I'll open this particular Swift file. Now I have already written the code for it. I will open my practice project. Don't get confused, you don't have to worry about this. So yeah, I'll open sources, my library. Okay, I'll just copy this code and I'll paste it over here. So I'll just remove this duplicate. So here firstly we have to import Swift Godot, then we have to import CLOUDKit. Then here we again ignore all these errors from Xcode. Swift Godot does not play nicely with Xcode. That's why we have to ignore this error. There is no other choice, or you can use separate different code editor you feel like if you want to. Then here this is the name of my library. Again this is boilerplate code which we have to write. Here I have imported CLOUDKit as well. Then we have to annotate our library with @Godot, and here we have to add this ref counted as well. I don't really know what this is. So basically what I will be storing inside CloudKit is I will just storing one field of country name, like different countries I want to store inside CloudKit database, but in your case it could be anything. You can also store multiple fields, but just for simplicity's sake I'm using only one field. So firstly I have taken an array of string. This will help us to, so suppose when I added some countries inside a CloudKit database, now I want to fetch it. I will get all those records from CloudKit in the form of CK record array, but out of it I will only fetch the country field. Then I will convert it to a string and send it back to Godot side. Then you will have to decode it on Godot side. I don't know how to send an array of string back to Godot side. That's why I'm using this approach. If you know how to directly send array of string, maybe you can use that. Then this is very important, CK container. Now this will be unique depending on your app. So firstly what I do is to define this container ID, I just do iCloud dot whatever is the bundle identifier of your project. So I will just change this because I have already used this in my practice project, so I don't want to use this. I'll just do something like, I don't know, nobody 2 dot someone 2. So okay, so this is different now. Now here I'm accessing public cloud database. So suppose if your app is used by multiple users, and if I as a user add something inside your app, if you want, like depending on how your app is structured, it will be visible to other apps, other users as well. But if you don't want to do that, you can use private cloud database as well. So something easy, that's how easy it is to switch from public to private. That is also called shared cloud database. If you want, you can use it, shared cloud database, but this I don't think many people will use it. This is only helpful if you want to share something with someone, but I don't want to share anything, so I'm using public cloud database. Then the DB name, I have named it as world. This is the database name which will be created on iCloud side. You can name it whatever you feel like. Then the field name would be country. Again, like I mentioned, you can use whatever you feel like. Then here I am defining a signal. So whenever I am fetching some data from iCloud side, I want to send, I am converting all this array of string into a proper string using JSON and then sending back. So that's why I have defined this. For other operations like create, read and update, I'm not sending any callback to Godot side, but if you want, you can do that. You can define multiple signals like this, how I'm using it. So I'm just using one signal for getting data from iCloud side. Then I have defined a method called @callable. So here annotated with @callable, method name is create, which takes some data which we will send from Godot side. Then here we just do CK record, pass the DB name. Then here we just do record.setValue, pass the value which we have sent from Godot side, and the field name is country, which we have already defined. And once our database.save is done, in case if there is any error, I'm just printing it to the console. Here you can send signal if you want to, and in case of success also I'm printing it to the console, but if you want, you can send a signal back to Godot side as well. Okay, so the next thing, once after I have created a entry inside our iCloud database, to read it, again I'm marking with @callable. Then here we create a query, we pass our DB name to it, and then we just do database.fetch, pass our query, pass our field names which we are interested in, and set the result limit. I'm getting all the results, but if you want, you can use pagination as well. Then once I have the data result, I'm just doing a switch case. So in case if it is success, then I'm just doing match results.compact map, get the result and return back the record and assign it to our self item record. And here I'm just on a main thread. All I'm doing is that I'm just removing everything from our country array if there is anything present, then just looping over the item record and appending it to our country array. And here we are just decoding and safely encoding the array. So here I'm just doing JSON encoder.encode, pass our country array to it. And once I have the JSON string, here you can see I'm sending it. I don't know why I'm using this. I'll just remove this. Here you can see I'm emitting whatever data is there inside this JSON string back to Godot side, and in case there is some error, I'm sending an empty string back. In case of failure, I was trying to do the same thing, but somehow this is giving me an error. I couldn't really figure it out. it was when I tried to uncomment this, it was giving me an error over here, which is beyond me. I don't know what the issue is. It was saying some type related issue, but yeah, if you know, do let me know in the comments. I think it's the same thing which I done over here as well. So I'm not really sure what the issue is. Maybe you might not face the issue. I'm not sure if the issue is from Swift Godot side or I have done something wrong. Yeah, but in case if you're able to figure it out, that's why I've just done a debug print over here. Maybe you can give it a proper message like failure, something like this. Anyways, next is update. So in update, I am accepting the initial data, like what data you want to update and what you want to get updated with. So that's what I'm sending, two things over here. I'm first checking whether we have that particular data inside our CLOUDKit database or not. If yes, then only update the data and save it to our database. And again, if it is success, just print it. In case of error, also print it. Similarly, for delete, we accept a data or input of type string. We check whether we have that inside our iCloud database, and then just do database.delete with record id, matching record.record id, and here we just do if error is equal to nil, print success, otherwise we print error. Same thing over here as well. So I think that should be it. That's it from the code wise. So in case if you have missed it, I'll simply scroll through this. Again, this is very important. You will have to use this same like bundle identifier or package name on Godot side as well. So make sure you keep a note of this. Ignore this iCloud. I just add it just as a container ID. Okay, so I'll just scroll through this. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the code. Next, I'll just close this as well. Next, let's see what's the next. So we have already done this. Then we have to create a build.sh file. So for that, what I typically do is I'll just go to this particular repository, and this guy has helped me a lot to understand this particular guy, I think Stefan. So yeah, you shout out to him as well. So we'll have to create this build.sh file. Now I don't know how to create this file inside Xcode. So what typically I do is I will just open the entire Godot folder inside VS Code, because I'm more familiar with VS Code than Xcode. So what I'll do, this is my Godot folder, I'll open entire everything, and this is my library. Inside that I will have to create this build.sh file. So I'll just create this particular file. Sorry, I'm constantly changing IDs, sorry about that. And I'll just copy this entire thing and I'll paste it over here. Now the thing which we have to change is the scheme name. Again, I'll just go back to my practice project just to confirm one more time what all things I have changed. So first, I think this, yeah, scheme name is our library name. So I'll just remove this, and scheme name should be something like this. And the next thing which I was facing an issue for, maybe you might not face this issue, I also had to add this skip macro validation. So I'll just remove this and I'll come over here. So make sure you make two changes, this scheme as well as this skip macro validation. This, I'm not sure this is necessary, but I was facing issues, that's why I have added it. Okay, again so yeah, that's it. Now again, let me check what's the next step. Okay, so the next step is we'll have to now create a build out of it. So what I will do, I'll just go to my terminal, I'll clear everything out, and then I will just cd to my app. So here I will just go to Godot, I'll go to my library, I will do something like this, just clear everything out. And once that is done, I will have to first copy this particular command. So I'll just paste it over here, and then I will have to run this particular command. Now I am only generating it for debug mode. If you want, you can generate it for release mode as well. So I will just paste this command. Now again, this will take a lot of time, so be patient, let it do its thing. In the meantime, we will come to Godot side and we will create a new project. So I'll just I'll again browse to my Godot folder just for my own sake. So here, and I'll just name it as my Godot project. And I'll just click on create and edit. Okay, so this is done. Now I will just create a 2D scene. Here I will just save it first, and I will also attach one script to it. I will also run it so that the current scene is selected. Otherwise, if you directly export it, you might face another issues. Okay, next I will just go to our 2D port, and here I will just add few buttons. I will first add a text edit. Okay, and here I will just give it some, so whatever you type inside this will get updated. Then I will just add one button over here. Okay, then I'll just duplicate this again. I will add one more button. I'll duplicate this again. I'll add one more button over here and duplicate it again. I'll add one more button, and here I will add one label as well. Okay, so here it will display all the data which we have inside our iCloud database. So I'll just name it quickly. So the first one is for create, second one is for I don't know get, third one is for update, and fourth one is for delete. I will just increase the font size a little. Select all of four of this, go to theme override, font size, I'll just change this to 40. Okay, again I'll just save it quickly. Now I will go to our script. Okay, so I have created this variables for our text edit as well as our label. Then I will have to create press signal for our button as well. So this is our first button, second button, then third button, and then fourth one. Okay, so this is done. Now I will go to project, export, add, iOS, click on this fix import, and here make sure you give your App Store team ID. If you don't know how to get it, you can go to this particular URL. It will guide you on how to get your App Store team ID. I will enter my App Store team ID later on. Then the next thing is the bundle identifier. So for that, like I mentioned, whatever we have written over here, we'll have to use the same thing. So I'll just copy this without the iCloud part, and I'll paste it over here. Oh, not here. This is the App Store team ID. I'll just scroll down and I'll paste it inside the bundle identifier. I'll close this. I'll enter my App Store team ID later on. I'll just click on save. Next, if you remember, I have opened my Godot folder as well, right? So here I have my Godot project as well. So I will need to create a bin folder inside my Godot project. So I'm inside my Godot project over here, not inside my library. So I'll create a bin folder. If you want, you can create it from the Godot editor as well. I'm just more comfortable over here. Then I'll have to create this GD extension. Again, the name of your GD extension should be your library name, and here we'll have to copy this particular code. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. So here if you remember, we were only sorry, I think I missed something. Yeah, we also need this particular part, dependencies part. So I'll add that as well. So if you remember, we were just creating the debug APK, not APK, but the debug variant of our library for iOS, both for my library.framework as well as Swift Godot.framework. If you are creating release one, then here you will have to change it. So be careful with that as well. Okay, so this is done. Now I'll just close this. I'll close this as well. Now again, I'll just go back to my old project to copy some code. My Godot project. Okay, so first here I have to get hold of my library. So I'll just go to our Godot project. I have created a variable for my library. Okay, then here inside onReady we have to initialize it. So inside onReady I will just initialize it. Again, the name is very important. So whatever you have given to your own library name, that or package name, that what you have to use over here as well as over here. And if you remember, we have created a signal as well named output. So for this also we have to create a method. So we'll create that later on. So I'll just create it right now only. So I'll just copy this. Again, the method name can be anything. So yeah, I have just named it as on user detail signal, but you can name it whatever you feel like. And once I have the data, so this signal get called once we press the get all method, get all button. And once I have here, you can see I'm displaying it in form of string, but you can decode it and display it in form of array as well. Okay, next, on first button press, we want to create. So make sure you use the same method name which you have defined it on Swift side. So yeah, so whatever you have typed inside our text edit, I will create it with that. Similarly for read as well. Then this is for text, this is for update. So for update, what I'm doing is that whatever you have typed inside your text edit, I'm looking for that and I'm updating it with high text. I know this is hard coded, but our app is very simple, so I don't know what else to do. But yeah, you can have your own thing in your own app. And this is for delete, so I have just pasted that as well. Okay, so all is done from code wise. Now if you remember, this command has also been successful, so I will just go back to my project. So this is my project, right? Go to your library. Here you will see this bin folder. Go to iOS, and here you will have to copy these two things. Okay, then go back to your Godot project, go to bin, and here you will have to paste it. So now we will just export our project. Alright, so I have entered my App Store team ID inside this export drop down. In case if you forgot, you can just go to project, export, something like this. And now we will have to export this project. I know there is a way to directly run this on a real iOS device. Again, make sure you test it on a real iOS device. Also, if something fails while testing, make sure you have signed in into your iCloud as well on your device, otherwise things will not work. Next, what I'll do is I'll just go back to my Godot folder, and here I will create a folder called iOS just to keep things simple. And I'll click on export project, and here I'll just go back. I'll go to the iOS folder and I'll click on save. Now again, this will take little bit of time, so let it do its thing. Okay, so as you can see over here, I have successfully exported the project. Ignore this warning for now. Then I will just go back to the iOS folder over here, and here we will have to double click on this .xcode proj, and it will automatically open it inside Xcode, so we don't have to worry about it. Then you will have to come over here and go to sign in and capabilities, and make sure you have just signed in with something like this. If you are getting this particular warning, just uncheck this and check it back again, and it will automatically resolve the issue for you. And I will just select my team ID as well. Okay, so this is selected. Now the very important thing which you have to do, you will have to click on this. I don't know why this is still showing an issue, but make sure your Apple identifier is the same what you have defined it on the Godot side. Once that is done, click on this plus capability button, and here you can just click on iCloud. This is very important. Also, do note that this particular capability will get lost every time you export your project from Godot. So do remember to add this every single time. I don't know of any other better alternative, because we can't really add this inside our package. So if you have a better alternative, do let me know in the comments. Now here you will have to select all three of this. Then again, if I go to my package, if you remember, we have defined this as the container ID, right? So I'll just copy this, I'll come back over here, and I will just click on this plus button, and I'll paste it over here. I'll click on OK. Now I will just run this application on a real iOS device and come back. In the meantime, what you can do is you can just go to icloud.developer.apple.com and sign in with your Apple ID. Okay, so as you can see, I'm inside icloud.developer.apple.com, and I'll just click on this CLOUDKit database. Okay, so hopefully here is our real iPad device. And here if I go to over here, by default you won't see your iCloud container ID. So for the very first time, what I will have to do, go back to my real device, and I will have to type out something. Okay, so I'll just ignore this. I'll come back to my device. I'll just type out I don't know, hi, and I'll click on create. Now I will get an error first. I'm not sure if it is displaying that error. Okay, it is not displaying that error, but anyways, Now what I'll do again, after doing a create, this is just a one-time process. I will again have to refresh my CloudKit database. Then only we will be able to see our container ID. So here you can see I'm able to see my container ID. I'll just select that. Then make sure this is public database, because we are using public database. If you are using private, you can select private. And inside record type, here you can see I'm able to see world. Now if I try to query records, here you can see it is saying me record name is not marked queryable. Now record name is part of iCloud itself. I have not created this. Our field name was country, but we have to do this. This is just a one-time process. I didn't find any way to do that programmatically, so you will have to go to indexes. You will have to, otherwise this will not work. If you try to do get, it will not work. Here we will have to click on plus, record type world. Okay, type here as queryable, and here you will have to select record name. This is really weird, I know that as well, but yeah, it is what it is. If you have a better approach, do let me know in the comments. I'll click on add, and if you remember, we have added hi, right? I don't think that has been propagated. If I click on query records, here you can see it is okay, it is telling me to select world, and I'll click on query records. Okay, it did okay, it did persist. I was doubtful that it might not have, but yeah, thankfully it have. Now if I just click on get, here you can see I'm able to see hi. If I try to update, okay, the update has been done. I'm not sending a callback. If you remember, I will just try to do a get, and here you can see it was updated. And if I try to delete, okay, this hi is not present, right? So I'll just create a country, India. I'll click on create, I'll click on get. Okay, now I want to delete hi out of it, hi out of the array. So hi is small, right? Hi, okay, and I'll just click on delete. I'll click on get again, and here you can see I'm left only with India. If you go to my cloud database as well, if I do query records, here you can see I'm only seeing India. Now one more thing which I want to warn you guys about is, suppose if you are clicking on the create button, and after the create you are automatically calling the get functionality as well. Sometimes the cloud sync does take a little bit of time. Even though your create or update or delete has been successful, your get will return some stale data. In my case right now, I thought I might have been able to show you this, but fortunately it did not give me stale data, because it does take a second or two. So maybe if you're automatically doing a get, you don't have a button for it, maybe you can give a pull to refresh to the user, or you can add an artificial delay. Yeah, so sometimes these things happen inside iCloud. So suppose if I just click on, I'll click on get, okay, I'll immediately click on create, I'll click on get again. Here you can see, I know create is also asynchronous, so it might not have finished. Now it is, if I pressed again, I'm able to see hi. So hopefully you got the point. Yeah, that's it for this video. So I'm starting to make this kind of tutorials of iOS plugin with Swift. I don't want to work with Objective-C anymore. If you have any suggestions on what all things I should make tutorial about, do let me know in the comments. Please don't say game center or in-app purchases. If you want those kind of tutorials, you will have to help me with the paid Apple developer account. You will have to add me as a developer inside your, if you have a paid Apple developer account, my friend won't let me use that. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.